Hello, I'm Colin Chappell. I'm the farmer here in northern Lincolnshire, a village called Hibblestow, near the banks of the River Ancombe. Peas make up a more important part of my rotation at the moment, maybe as much as a quarter of my rotation with peas and beans. The field we're stood in at the moment is almost surrounded by watercourses, and ultimately that water leads to the River Ancombe, which leads to an extraction point, which is the building you can see over my left, your right shoulder, and in particular that has issues for the drinking water that ultimately comes back in my tap at my house. The chemistry we're being allowed to use in peas and beans is diminishing all the time. It means we have to rely on fewer active ingredients, one of them being Bentazone, and it therefore increases the importance in using such chemistry.
Bentazone is a challenge for the water companies in particular because it is found more months of the year, more locations and at higher levels than any other plant protection product. And that makes a challenge for the water companies, it makes a challenge for the Environment Agency as well. We want to keep the chemistry, and we want to make sure that people are using the chemistry in a way, there's certain steps that we can take to help in that, to manage the situation. One of these we're going to be talking about today is point sources, and one of the real advantages of working with point sources is they can be avoided. The other form of contamination is diffuse sources. They can be managed in the field. In terms of the we, it is the whole of the agriculture and I'd say environment and water company landscape. I see this as being like a partnership, all of us working together for the same goal or goals. Ultimately we all benefit because we all drink that water as well. And there's not many people that do not have a water bill that comes through, so we have that cost associated with us as individuals. First of all, you need to be wary of the watercourses around and about the fields and manage those watercourses or potential movement to those watercourses. So that principally is with either no spray zones, it can be cropped like the rest of the field, or a buffer zone around the field. Next tip would be understanding what is underneath the soil and the thickness of the soil. That's in terms of the vulnerability to groundwater in particular. We have high risk areas that can be found via our websites. And the third tip is to look at the weather. Weather is a key factor in where chemistry moves in terms of drift. It's also a factor in terms of rainfall coming along, so the potential for runoff, the potential for the chemistry being washed into the soil, and once it's below the surface it is slow to break down. It breaks down quickly at the surface, so if we keep it there, so much the better.
So what you can't see to the left of me is I have a weather station. Anglian Water funded a weather station on this farm, so I know exactly what is happening on my farm. I know soil moisture deficit, very important over the last few months. I also know the forecast going forward. I know how much rain there's going to be. If there's going to be a heavy rainfall event, you don't want to be applying Bentazone in that particular instance. So number one would be the weather and being able to monitor weather much more accurately on the location you're at. Number two for me would be the drip tray, because I'm taking away that point source pollution, which is not an small or insignificant event. It is something that needs monitoring. And then point three would be the actual application. Make sure the soil conditions, the weather, and the fact that you are not applying the buffer zones next door to the watercourses which surround most of my farm.
BASF. We create chemistry.